According to Bankrate's 2024 Financial Security Report, nearly 60% of Americans can't cover an unexpected $1,000 emergency bill right now. And here's the kicker. Most of us think cutting back on $5 coffees is the key to security, when the real threat is much, much bigger. If you're tired of logging into your banking app and feeling instant anxiety, if you're wondering where your money is vanishing and why you're always one surprise away from disaster, stay with me. Today, I'm not giving you another penny-pinching lecture. Instead, I'm showing you exactly how to build a self-running system that shields you from financial catastrophe and lets you enjoy life without the guilt. By the end, you'll see how just a few strategic changes, none requiring extreme sacrifice, can buy you decades of peace of mind and set up your wealth to grow on autopilot. Ready? Let's build your bulletproof financial fortress, layer by layer. Let's get real for a second. How much time did you spend this week worrying, not working, just worrying about money? Do you catch yourself stewing over whether that $5 lunch was a mistake or whether buying name-brand paper towels just put you behind? Do you log into your banking app, maybe around the 15th of the month, and see your account way lower than expected yet again? You're not alone. Most of us have been there. It feels like anxiety that never fully switches off, like you're always on edge about whether you can handle the next curveball life throws your way. But here's a contrarian truth. Most people don't fail with money because they lack willpower, but because the system is rigged for manual effort. We're told to monitor every transaction, to track each penny, to feel guilty for normal spending. But that's not your job. Systems, automated, hands-off systems, exist to do this work for you. The real issue isn't a lack of discipline, it's a lack of protection. Welcome to what I call the $5 anxiety trap. This is the belief that to be good with money, you have to police every tiny decision. But doing that just makes you tired, mentally and emotionally, and it keeps you distracted from the threats that could truly wipe you out. Let's flip the script. What if, instead of obsessing over small stuff, you use that energy to put up a shield so strong one big crisis can't knock you out? How would life feel then? Here's the shift. The problem isn't the $20 splurge here or there. It's not being defended against the $20,000 problem. If you lost your job, suffered a major accident, or were hit with a lawsuit out of nowhere, every latte you skipped is instantly irrelevant. So today, I'm breaking down the 5 layers of strategic financial insurance, each one designed to shield you from a disaster that would take years to recover from. And these aren't vague principles. I'll show you how every single layer works with real numbers, specific tools you can set up today, and stories from people who got it right and wrong. Plus, after each layer, I'll tease what's coming next, because layer 5 is the one almost nobody is talking about, and it's the true game changer for long-term wealth. Let's start with layer 1, the zero-cost insurance, your emergency fund. And here's why it's zero cost. You aren't paying a company, you're paying yourself, and you get your money back, plus peace of mind. According to the Federal Reserve's 2023 Economic Well-Being Report, almost 4 in 10 adults couldn't cover a $400 emergency with cash or savings. That's a massive vulnerability. But building an emergency fund is the most potent way to block high-interest debt from entering your life when disaster strikes. Think about this. If you lose your job with no savings, you're forced onto credit cards. Most charge around 20% APR to pay rent and buy groceries. Suddenly, a 3-month gap between jobs can explode into years of debt payments. Let's run the numbers. Let's suppose you use $6,000 of credit card debt at 20% APR. That's more than $1,200 in interest every year until it's paid off. Over 5 years, you'd spend over $6,000 just on interest, enough to fund your entire emergency account. Let's flip it. Say you followed my system and set aside 6 months of expenses. Imagine $18,000 sitting in a high-yield savings account earning 4% interest. If disaster strikes, you use that fund instead of borrowing. That's like getting an instant 20% return because you avoid all that debt interest. And, crucially, you keep your head clear to find a new job or handle your emergency without financial panic. Let me share a story. Sarah, a 32-year-old marketing manager, got caught in a sudden layoff. Thanks to having $18,000, her 6 months of living expenses, in her high-yield savings at Ally, she paid rent, covered her bills, and never once touched a credit card. 3 months later, she landed a new, better job. She called her emergency fund her quiet mind because she was able to think clearly and act confidently even in chaos. That's the real return on this layer. And I'm telling you, the psychological boost is priceless. Here's your playbook for Layer 1. Calculate your essential expenses, rent, food, debt minimums, for 3 to 6 months. That's your emergency fund number. Open a high-yield savings account like Marcus, Ally, or Capital One 360. Automate a transfer on the first of every month, even if it's just $50 at first. Lock it up. You don't invest this fund. It's your financial bunker. Leave it untouched until it's truly needed. Which brings us to Layer 2, the finite shield. Term life insurance. Now, this is a protection almost everyone with dependents needs, but very few have in the right form. And here's why. Term life coverage gives you a massive payout, like $500,000 to $1 million for your family, for as little as $50 per month. That's an absurd ROI, giving your loved ones security for pennies on the dollar. What most people don't know is that the insurance industry tries to sell them whole life policies. These are way more expensive, often $200+ a month, and have poor cash returns. The pitch? That it's an investment as well as insurance. But the numbers don't lie. Here's the comparison. Luis, a 41-year-old dad, used to pay $220 a month for whole life, thinking it would help him build wealth. He switched to a $1 million 20-year term policy for $46 per month. That freed up $2,088 every year, money he was able to redirect toward savings. When he had a health scare a year later, he realized that only his new term policy would give his wife and kids a $1 million payout if the worst happened. His old whole life? Maybe $18,000 after 2 decades. Luis went from constantly worrying to actually recovering in peace, knowing his family was protected. Here's your Layer 2 action. If someone relies on your income, a partner, kids, you need term life. Go to Policy Genius or Ladder Life, enter your info, and get quotes for 20 or 30-year coverage worth at least 10 times your annual income, or $500,000 minimum. It takes 5 minutes. And always, always read the exclusions and verify the policy is state-regulated and fits your needs.
All insurance has exclusions and limitations. Read policies thoroughly and understand them. Pause for a second. Comment below. Which of these first two shields do you already have in place? Emergency fund, term life, or both?
I want to see how many in our community are already building their fortress.
Your answers help others feel less alone and see what's possible.
And if you're missing one, now's the moment to make it real. All right, now for layer 3, the infinite shield. The umbrella policy. This is the secret super protector almost nobody talks about. If your dog bites someone, or you cause a car accident with major injuries, your basic auto or homeowner's insurance might cover up to $250,000 or $300,000.
But if the details are higher, as they so often are, the excess is on you.
That could mean losing your home, your investments, even future earnings from wage garnishment. An umbrella policy stacks on top of your other policies and adds usually $1 to $2 million in extra coverage.
The cost? Just $20 to $30 a month.
For that, you get a literal multi-million-dollar legal shield. Put this in perspective. You might pay $50 for streaming video every month, but hesitate at $20 to protect everything you own from a lawsuit. That's a no-brainer. Here's what it looks like in real life. Priya, a 36-year-old business owner, got into an at-fault accident. The other party's medical bills and court fees totaled over $800,000. Her auto insurance maxed out at $250,000. But because she had a $2 million umbrella policy for just $25 per month, her house and her $90,000 in savings were fully safe. Instead of financial ruin, Priya had pure relief. A feeling you can't buy retroactively. Setting up the shield is easy. Call your auto or home insurance provider and request an umbrella policy quote for $1 million in coverage. Most can add this to your existing policy instantly. Double-check what's included and review all liability limits and exclusions. Again, all policies have exclusions, so read the details. Remember, up to this point, you're building the core, your wealth fortress. But we're not done. I want you to stick around, because what's coming in Layer 5 is what actually separates lifelong security from financial ruin. Trust me, almost nobody gets this one right. Moving to Layer 4, defensive health and hidden wealth, the HDHP/HSA combination. In the U.S., medical bills are the #1 cause of bankruptcies, so you can't afford to take health insurance lightly. But I want you to consider a high-deductible health plan only if you're generally healthy and can afford higher upfront out-of-pocket costs. Here's the big reason why. Pairing an HDHP with a health savings account, an HSA, gives you triple tax advantages that no other savings or retirement account can match. Here's how it works. Money goes into your HSA tax-free, grows inside tax-free, and if you use it on qualified medical expenses, comes out tax-free. Plus, you can invest that money as if it were a retirement account. For 2024, you can contribute $4,150 individually, set aside in an account that's FDIC insured. Lively and Fidelity are two top options. Over 20 or 30 years, letting this compound, even conservatively, can produce a massive tax-free cushion for later in life. According to analysis by Morningstar in 2023, maxing out an HSA for 30 years at a 7% annual return
could yield over $400,000, all tax-free for medical expenses. Remember, this is educational only, not financial advice. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Consult a licensed financial advisor for your specific situation. Don't be discouraged by the high deductible part. If you have the emergency fund from Layer 1, your bases are covered if a big bill hits. But the triple tax advantage is invaluable. So if your employer offers an HDHP and you're eligible, strongly consider it. And yes, make sure your money is going into a true HSA, not a flexible spending account, so you get all the tax benefits. Layer 5 is the crown jewel, ensuring your earning power. Disability insurance. This is the layer almost nobody remembers, but it's absolutely vital because your income over 30 or 40 years is, for most people, their single most valuable asset, easily worth millions of dollars. If you couldn't work for months or years, what would you do? Your house can burn down and get replaced. But if you lose the ability to earn, everything else is at risk. Here's how it works. Disability insurance protects 60 to 70% of your salary if you're sidelined by serious illness or injury. For a few $dozen a month in premiums, you keep income flowing and prevent your net worth and your life from unraveling. Let's put numbers to this. If you earn $70,000 a year and lose your job for 2 years due to injury, having no insurance means you burn through savings, rack up debt, or even lose your home. With disability insurance, you'd still receive $3,500 to $4,100 a month, tax-free, while you focus on recovery. Adam, a 38-year-old freelancer, learned this firsthand. After a bad slip on the ice left him unable to work for 10 months, his disability policy delivered $4,100 a month, covering 65% of his budget. He didn't have to sell investments or beg for loans. He focused on rehab and came back stronger. Adam told me, "That one policy gave me my life back." If you've got a job with benefits, check to see if your employer already covers you. If not, it's time to request quotes for a private policy. Aim for coverage to age 65 that replaces at least 60% of your earnings, and verify if your state offers additional protection. Policies differ, so check for government guarantees if you qualify. Before we hit the action checklist, pause and tell me, which one of these 5 layers surprised you the most? And which are you missing? Comment below. I want our Jim Invest community to see that building these shields is a team effort, and your experiences help others take action too. You made it through the strategy. Let's recap quickly. Layer 1 is your emergency fund, the zero-cost insurance that keeps you out of high-interest debt and gives you room to breathe. Layer 2 is term life insurance, your finite shield, giving your family the protection they need at the lowest possible cost. Layer 3, umbrella policy, your infinite shield, protecting your entire net worth from the legal and liability threats nobody expects, but everyone faces. Layer 4, the HDHP/HSA combo, unlocking the most powerful tax-advantaged account average people can get, and letting you grow your money shielded from taxes for decades. Layer 5, disability insurance, defending your most valuable asset, the ability to earn income against the curveballs of life. I know it can feel overwhelming. That's why I've distilled the next steps into a rapid-fire 7-part checklist you can attack in under 10 minutes. Better yet, I'm making a 1-page, 5-layer wealth defense checklist Downloadable for free from the link below so you can follow along and cross off each win. Ready? Here's your 10-minute Money Fortress Sprint. 1. Check your emergency fund. Log into your high-yield savings, Ally, Marcus, Capital One 360, and total 3 to 6 months of essentials. Under $10,000? Move extra checking cash and schedule monthly auto transfers right now. Milestone. Transfer scheduled. 2. Run a quote for term life. Go to Policy Genius or Ladder Life, enter your info, target 20, 30-year term, at least 10 times your income, $500,000 minimum. Apply if you qualify. Milestone. Quote received or policy begun. Always check state regulation and exclusions. 3. Get an umbrella policy quote. Ring your auto or home insurer, ask for $1 million coverage, review coverage and exclusions. Milestone. Quote in hand, limits verified. All insurance has exclusions and limitations. Be thorough. 4. Confirm health insurance. If HDHP is viable and you're healthy, open or fund HSA. Lively Fidelity. Max out tax advantage $4,150 in 2024. Milestone. Account open and at least $100 funded. Insure FDIC insurance. 5. Secure disability insurance. Ask HR or shop private quotes. Aim for 60% income replacement to age 65. Milestone employer benefit confirmed or private quote requested. Review state or federal guarantees. 6. Set automation reminders. Put calendar alerts to review or renew policies or contributions each January and July. Milestone. Recurring reminders set. 7. Write your financial shield total. Add up all dollar coverage in place. Document it. Milestone. Number visible. A powerful reality check. All this can be done in under 10 minutes to set the core defense. Download your checklist below so you don't miss a step. Here's the real benefit. For maybe a couple $100 a month, less than many people spend on random splurges, you buy yourself something far more valuable than possessions. You buy peace of mind. You regain your freedom of choice. Once your shields are in place, you don't have to be haunted by tiny expenses or live in fear of losing everything to disaster. Wealthy people don't just play defense, they automate it and get back to offense, building and enjoying their lives with confidence. If you're still with me, share this video with a close friend or family member who needs these shields too. Drop a comment about which step you're going to tackle tonight. And don't forget to grab the free checklist below. It's your permission slip to stop worrying and start winning at money. Remember, this is for educational purposes only, not financial advice. Always consult a licensed advisor or professional when making decisions about insurance or investments. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Your situation is unique, so use this framework to spark your game plan and get the expert support you need. Subscribe to Jim Invests for the next episode. Next week, I'm sharing the best ways to supercharge your emergency fund and how to automate your investments safely with historical data, risk analysis, and zero hype. Comment below. What's your #1 money question for 2024? The top questions will be answered in upcoming videos. Let's build real wealth together.